Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're going to unpack a really a profound shift in how the business world talks to you. For decades, marketing was basically a one-way megaphone. You just, broadcast your message and hope some of it would stick. But that era is, well, it's over.
Completely over.
It's not about just broadcasting anymore. It's about engaging in a two-way, targeted, really personal dialogue.
And that conversational shift is exactly our mission for this deep dive. We're going to get into the personalization revolution, really try to understand how companies get a competitive advantage by mastering these more intimate communication channels. So we're talking direct marketing, interactive, word of mouth, and maybe most importantly, the personal sales force.
We're moving from a mass market
To a market of one.
the market of one. And I think the best way to get your head around the sheer scale of this change is to look at a company that made just an astonishing sacrifice to prove the point. I'm talking about the Pepsi Refresh Project from 2010.
Right. This was a seismic moment in marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, for 23 years straight, PepsiCo was a fixture at the Super Bowl. They were running those huge, high-gloss, multi-million-dollar ads during the biggest TV event of the year.
Right. They were spending all that money on the ultimate one-way megaphone.
Exactly.
And then in 2010, they just stopped. They pulled all their soft drink advertising from Super Bowl. That must have been a terrifying decision for that ad team.
Oh, absolutely. But it was a very conscious rejection of that old model. Instead of shelling out tens of millions for 30 seconds of airtime, they focused all that energy and that budget on cause marketing, something that's deeply participatory and, personal.
So they earmarked a massive $20 million to fund good ideas from people all over the world. Pepsi basically became a facilitator for consumer-driven philanthropy.
Precisely. They opened it up to anyone with an idea. It was across 6 categories: health, arts and culture, food and shelter, the planet, neighborhoods, and education.
Right.
But the crucial part, the really clever part, was the mechanism. The public had to submit their ideas to refresheverything.com, and then, this is key, they had to vote on them.
Which immediately forced everyone, the participants, and Pepsi itself to start using the growing power of social networks. Things like Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
You had to just to get the momentum you needed to win.
Exactly. And this move, it signaled a fundamental change in consumer sensibility. They recognized that you, the consumer, you weren't just passively watching ads anymore. You wanted a participatory role. People want to know what good your company's doing in the world, not just what product you're selling. The Refresh Project worked because it transformed consumers from targets into active, engaged partners in the brand's story.
Okay, so we established the new rule is personal dialogue. But before the internet, the original channel for that kind of targeted communication was direct marketing. Let's start there.
Yes, direct marketing, or DM. It really is the foundation that digital marketing was built on. So we define DM as the use of consumer direct channels, mail, telephone, email, to reach and deliver goods or services without middlemen. And the defining characteristic is that it's always aiming for a measurable customer response.
Which is usually an order.
Typically an order. We call it direct order marketing.
When most people hear direct marketing, I think they still picture a pile of junk mail and unwanted catalogs. But the economic scale of it is just so much bigger than that old image.
Oh, it's colossal. I mean, even if you go back to 2009, DM accounted for almost 53% of all U.S. advertising spending. That's over $149 billion annually. And that spending was 8.3% of the entire U.S. GDP. It's huge. It's consistently grown faster than traditional retail, mostly because it cuts out all the rising costs and the complexities of, traditional sales force and distribution.
So if DM is such a massive engine, what are the clearest benefits that keep it growing? Let's start with the buyer for you.
For you, the buyer, it's really all about convenience and control. Think about toll-free numbers, websites that are open 24/7, next-day delivery options. In a world where everyone's short on time, skipping the traffic, the parking, the lines, that's a huge value proposition.
And it also helped fill a gap, right? When the big chain stores stopped stocking niche items.
Exactly. When they stopped carrying the slower-moving specialty products, direct marketers were perfectly positioned to promote those specific things directly to the niche buyers who are actually interested.
So the buyer gets convenience. What's the strategic advantage for the seller, beyond just being able to measure the response rate so easily?
The single biggest advantage is what our sources call market demassification.
Demassification.
Right. It means you have the ability to target these incredibly specific niches. So instead of broadcasting to the whole country, You can send a customized mailing tailored only for, say, new parents in zip codes with high disposable income, or a very specific hobby group. And this targeting lets the seller constantly personalize their messages and build a really deep long-term relationship with the customer.
That idea of building a relationship through direct means, that inevitably brings us to the ultimate case study, LL Bean. Their dedication to the customer through direct channels is, I mean, it's almost legendary.
It really is. It cemented the model for generations. Their origin story is just a masterclass in building commitment. Leon Wood Bean invented the Maine hunting shoe way back in 1911. He stitched leather uppers to rubber bottoms after coming back from a cold, wet hunting trip.
And he marketed it with just a flyer, right?
A simple 3-page flyer sent to a list of hunters he had.
But the first batch was not great. The quality was terrible.
Oh, it was awful. 90 of the first 100 pairs that he sold were returned because the tops and bottoms separated.
90 out of 100. That would sink most businesses on day one.
It would. But here's the strategic takeaway. Bean immediately refunded the purchase price on all 90 pairs, he fixed the problem, and he established the 100% satisfaction guarantee right then and there. His golden rule: sell good merchandise at a reasonable profit, treat your customers like human beings, and they will always come back for more. That became the bedrock of a company that's now worth over $1.4 billion.
And by 2009, they were still doing it, producing 49 different catalogs, handling 11 million customer contacts, cross-promoting their stores, their catalogs, their website. It's just proof that a brand can be built entirely through consistent, high-quality, direct interactions.
And the fact that they could transition so successfully from mail order to retail and then to a top-rated e-commerce site proves the point. If you nail the relationship through direct channels, the channel itself doesn't matter as much. It's the trust that transfers over.
Okay, so if trust is the long-term goal, the short-term challenge is precision. How do direct marketers with millions of customers decide who's most valuable, who's most likely to respond to that expensive catalog?
They use data. And a simple but incredibly powerful formula called RFM, recency, frequency, and monetary amount. This formula lets marketers filter their huge customer databases based on behavior. It identifies who is most active and most valuable right now.
So it's not just about how much money they've spent, it's also about when they spent it and how often.
Let's say you have a new high-end product. You're looking for a customer whose last purchase, that's recency, was very recent, maybe in the last month or two. Then you look at frequency. Do they buy multiple times a year? And finally, monetary amount. Have they spent over a certain amount of money with you?
So you assign points for each of those metrics.
Right. And the higher the total RFM score, the more you're willing to invest in targeting that specific customer.
And the beauty of this is that it lets marketers test different messages and media pretty cost-effectively before they launch a massive campaign. Now, when we look at the results, the sources say a 2 to 4% order response rate is considered successful. That sounds remarkably low.
It does on the surface.
Yeah.
But that's where we have to shift from looking at short-term metrics to calculating the customer lifetime value, or CLV. You have to look beyond the immediate order rate, because even if only 2% buy right away, many more people became aware of the product, or they formed an intent to buy it later, maybe somewhere else.
Right. Direct mail has a pretty high readership, even if the immediate response is low.
Exactly. So the CLV is what really matters. It factors in how long you'll likely keep the customer, how much they spend on average each year, the gross margin, and then you subtract the cost to acquire and maintain them.
So DM is a long game, built on relationship data.
Precisely. If a customer is worth $1,000 to you over 5 years, spending $10 to acquire them with direct mail is a fantastic investment, even if that immediate response rate looks paltry.
But this deep reliance on tracking individual behavior, this is where the ethical issues start to creep in. When data collection gets this intimate, what are the major pitfalls we need to talk about?
Well, the source material points to 4 critical ethical issues that come from this kind of high-precision targeting. First and simplest is irritation.
We've all been there.
Absolutely. The hard sell calls, the mailbox stuffed with catalogs you never asked for. After a while, you just start ignoring the blizzard of communications, which makes the channel less effective for everybody.
And the second one is much more serious: unfairness.
This is when direct marketers prey on vulnerable groups, the less sophisticated or the elderly, with offers that are designed to take advantage of impulse or confusion. It's an abuse of targeting power.
Then you have outright deception and fraud.
Right. The FTC gets thousands of complaints every year about investment scams, phony charities, or mailers that are designed to grossly exaggerate what a product can do, like using photos that make a product look twice its actual size.
And finally, the big one for the digital age, which only gets bigger as we go on. Invasion of privacy.
Every purchase you make, every credit card application, every subscription, it all adds your behavior and your preferences to these massive commercial databases. And critics worry that marketers just know too much about our private lives and could potentially use that knowledge to discriminate or unfairly target people.
It's that constant tension, isn't it, between useful personalization and just creepy surveillance.
It is. The industry is constantly trying to self-police to maintain customer trust, because without that trust, the power of DM, which is built on that data, it just collapses.
And that tension is the perfect setup for our next leap. We're moving from the physical mail to electronic channels that take personalization to a whole new, highly interactive level. This is where it gets really interesting. So interactive marketing, it relies on electronic channels that allow for much greater interaction and individualization. What's the core advantage the internet brought over traditional DM?
Accountability, pure and simple. Unlike an expensive TV ad or a static print ad, online activity is immediately and meticulously traceable. Marketers can track exactly how many unique visitors click an ad, how long they stay on the page, which links they follow. It allows for a near-perfect measurement of ROI.
And it allows for hyper-relevant targeting, especially with search.
Precisely. You get strategies like contextual placement, so buying ads on sites that are relevant to what you're selling, or advertising based purely on search engine keywords. If you're typing best hiking boots into a search bar, you are a prime prospect. The ad reaches you at the exact moment of intent.
To illustrate the power of this kind of interaction and personality in the digital space, we have the Burger King Whopper Freakout. This campaign really embraced that dialogue, even if the dialogue was just outrage.
Yes. Burger King realized that in the age of interaction, they just couldn't afford to be bland. They were up against McDonald's, which has this very broad, family-friendly image. Their global marketing president actually said it was more important for us to be provocative than pleasant, especially to capture that younger demographic with their have it your way promise.
And what's more provocative than telling loyal customers you've just permanently removed their favorite menu item?
The campaign was brilliant because it generated genuine, raw emotion. They filmed customers' real outrage when they were told the Whopper was gone forever. And that content just resonated instantly. The long-form video got over 5 million views, and the little snippets on YouTube added another 14 million. It was a massive viral success built entirely on provoking a human reaction and then leveraging social media.
That campaign worked because the destination, the website, and the microsites was compelling enough to host that content. Which brings us to a foundational design framework for a good digital presence. The 7 C's.
Right, the 7 C's. It's a framework from Rayport and Jaworski, and it's really the benchmark for designing a website that's not just pretty, but functional, sticky, and encourages you to come back. It shifts the focus from just looking good to actually facilitating interaction.
Okay, let's go through the list, but instead of just reading them off, what are the 3 elements you think marketers most often get wrong? The ones that really hurt conversion?
That's a great question. I would argue that customization, community, and connection are the most overlooked. Let me quickly run through all 7 first. You have context, that's the design and layout, and content, text, video, pictures. Then community, how users talk to each other. Then customization, the site's ability to tailor itself to you. Communication, how the site enables two-way dialogue. Connection, how well it links to other relevant sites. And finally, commerce, its ability to handle transactions.
So if customization and connection are frequently missed, what does that mean in practical terms for a company?
Well, a failure in customization means the site treats everyone the same. It misses the chance to recognize returning visitors, or suggest relevant products, or let you set personal preferences. A failure in connection means the site acts like an island. It doesn't link out to third-party services or social media, so it forces you to leave and search somewhere else. They just fail to meet the modern user's expectation of tailored relevance.
And for companies selling things that are inherently low interest, like insurance or industrial parts, they have to rely on microsites to meet the customer where they are.
A microsite is a highly specialized small web page that supplements the main, often very dry, corporate site. So if you sell car insurance, your main site is probably boring. But you could create a microsite offering great advice on the top 10 used cars for teen drivers and then host it on a popular used car shopping platform.
You're meeting the customer where their interest is already high?
Exactly. and you're simultaneously offering a link back to your deal.
Okay, moving into specific channels, we have to talk about the engine of online advertising. Search ads. Paid search or pay-per-click accounts for roughly half of all online ad spending.
It's the hottest growth area because it is so incredibly targeted. About 35% of all searches are product or service related, so those users are prime prospects.
Hmm.
And marketers bid on keywords in these continuous automated auctions.
And the advertiser only pays if you, the consumer, actually click the link, which drives a typical click-through rate of about 2%, way higher than a static banner ad.
Exactly. The challenge now, of course, is that the popularity of paid search has driven up competition and prices. So that puts huge pressure on the marketer to perfect their search engine optimization and make sure their landing page actually converts.
Next, let's talk about the internet's oldest workhorse, email marketing. How do companies cut through all the spam filters and the inbox overload to actually be effective?
Email is still incredibly cost-effective. It's a fraction of the price of physical direct mail. But to work, it has to be timely, targeted, and relevant. The sources have some really excellent guidelines for this.
Okay, first, you have to give people a compelling reason to even open it.
Right. You have to offer powerful, exclusive incentives, an instant win sweepstakes, a free report, a time-sensitive deal you can't get anywhere else. Second, you must personalize the content based on what the user wants. Companies like IBM let customers select the news they choose from a profile of their interests.
And the two critical hygiene factors make it easy to leave and integrate it with social media.
Yes, a positive exit experience is crucial. You have to be able to unsubscribe easily. And combining channels just multiplies the results. Southwest Airlines found their highest number of reservations happened after an email campaign was followed by a social media campaign.
You're using one channel to amplify the other.
Exactly. Papa John's used an email push to add 45,000 fans to its Facebook page.
That constant connectivity brings us to what a lot of people call the third screen mobile marketing. And the scale of this channel is just mind-boggling.
In 2009, there were over 4.1 billion mobile subscribers globally. That's more than twice as many mobile devices as personal computers. The mobile phone is ubiquitous, it's always on, it's always with the user, and so it's an irresistible communication tool for the ultimate level of personalization.
And companies figured out pretty quickly this was more than just a place for ads. It was a new solution channel. Bank of America, for example, used mobile apps to attract a big chunk of its new customers.
They did. They leveraged mobile services to bring in 8 to 10% new customers. And what's interesting is they initially targeted younger users, but they found that clean navigation appealed to older, higher-income users as well. The app wasn't just an accessory. For many people, it was their core banking solution.
We've also seen product launches that were built entirely around the mobile platform.
The Volkswagen GTI launch in the US is the perfect example of that. They launched the car by releasing an iPhone app for their real racing game. That app got 2 million downloads in 3 weeks.
So they weren't just advertising on the mobile screen, they were providing an interactive brand experience.
Exactly.
And this is where the personalization revolution really goes into overdrive, location-based services.
This is a game changer for retailers. Sonic Corp, for example, uses GPS data and proximity to cell towers to know when opt-in customers are near one of their restaurants. And then they send a discount offer via text message. That ability to deliver a timely, relevant offer at the point of purchase is priceless.
It's like a modern, hyper-targeted coupon.
Exactly. It revitalizes the coupon, whose traditional redemption rates had been falling for years.
But the source material provides a crucial check here. You can't just assume everyone interacts with mobile the same way. There's a vital segmentation of tech users that forces marketers to customize their approach.
Yes, if you target all 4.1 billion mobile users the same way, you're just wasting money. We broadly divide the population into two major groups: the 39% who are motivated by mobility and the 61% who are the stationary media majority.
Let's quickly profile those mobile groups. The digital collaborators. They're high achievers, well-educated, well-off. They use tech to share and connect.
Right. Then you have the ambivalent networkers. They use mobile for social life and fun, but they often worry about being too connected. They find the devices intrusive. And the roving nodes, mostly women, who are intensely focused on using mobile for logistics and personal productivity. Email, texting, just streamlining life.
And you contrast that with the stationary media majority, like the desktop veterans. They're happy with their high-speed desktop, and their cell phone is just a background device.
Or the tech indifferent. typically older women who dislike the intrusiveness of cell phones and aren't heavy internet users at all.
The takeaway for marketers seems pretty clear.
It is. Your mobile strategy has to be customized to the segment. You can't use the same complex, data-heavy app for a tech-indifferent user that you would for a digital collaborator. This segmentation just underscores why mobile content has to be simple, clear, and focused, especially with smaller screens and download limits.
Okay, moving from the channels we pay for to the channels we earn. Now we're entering the most powerful and often least controlled form of personal communication, word of mouth, WOM, amplified globally by social media.
Right. WOM is how we discuss dozens of brands every day, often without even realizing it. Many huge brands, Hush Puppies, Crocs, Starbucks, were built primarily on strong, positive, organic word of mouth with very little traditional advertising.
And the sources make a clear distinction here between media types, paid media and earned media.
Paid media is straightforward.
Yeah.
Press coverage that comes from your company's advertising or promotions. But the golden ticket is earned media, sometimes called free media.
That's the stuff that builds buzz.
Exactly. It's the PR benefit you get without paying for it directly. News stories, blogs, and all the social network conversations that generate organically.
And social media platforms are the engine of earned media today. Companies have to be present in online communities, on blogs, on social networks. Let's look at how Intuit used its community structure.
Intuit created the QuickBooks Live community. It's only available to customers who buy QuickBooks. It's a closed forum where users can trade tips and ask questions. What's fascinating is that 70% of those questions are answered by other QuickBooks customers. One accountant alone posted over 5,000 answers.
Wow, that's not just customer service, that's customer advocacy.
It is. This peer-to-peer system gives Intuit constant, invaluable product feedback, and it instantly fosters loyalty because users are helping each other succeed. It turns a potential complaint forum into a sales and development tool.
The blogosphere then takes this advocacy, or criticism, public, and these online journals are hugely influential.
Blogs act as powerful opinion amplifiers. Treehugger, for example, has a team of bloggers tracking green consumer products. They attract 3.5 million unique monthly visitors. That gives marketers access to influential voices in highly engaged segments.
But, as we all know, the blogosphere cuts both ways. You can get instant promotion or instant retribution.
Absolutely. The whole Dell Hell saga, where Dell's customer service failures were documented all over the internet, or the viral recordings of bad service from AOL and Comcast. It shows that blogs and videos give you, the consumer, a way for immediate public retribution. You can no longer hide operational failings behind a marketing firewall. And that leads directly to the massive platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. The fundamental challenge for marketers there is that users are looking for connection, not commerce. Right? The primary user intent is social. So companies have to actively participate, not just advertise. Having a Facebook page is a prerequisite, but engagement is the key. You see small businesses like the Mission Pie Bakery in San Francisco use tweet alerts about fresh products to quickly build a community and drive immediate business.
And the niche social networks offer incredibly deep targeting, like Cafe Mom.
Cafe Mom attracts 6.7 million unique visitors a month, all young, middle-class women with kids. So PlaySchool wanted to promote a new play activity form. They sent product kits to 5,000 members. The result, 11,600 posts were generated.
That peer validation is so much more valuable than a standard broadcast ad.
So much more.
But the immediate nature of social media also creates a terrible risk. The speed of a crisis. We saw this perfectly with the Motrin debacle.
This is a textbook example of high-speed social backlash. The Motrin marketers ran an online video that was supposed to be tongue-in-cheek. It suggested that young mothers carrying their babies everywhere in slings might get back pain. They thought it was humorous and relatable.
But a few vocal mothers on Twitter took offense. They felt the video was mocking their parenting choices.
And it was a Friday night. By Monday morning, it had exploded into a full-scale firestorm across the web. The brand was forced to respond immediately, apologizing personally via email, pulling the video.
And then, ironically, they got criticized for overreacting.
Right. The key lesson is you have to have a thoughtful, credible social media presence that can rapidly manage scrutiny or criticism, because speed is your enemy.
Let's shift to companies that intentionally try to generate this excitement. What's the difference between buzz marketing and viral marketing?
So buzz marketing is about generating excitement through unexpected or even outrageous means. It's often a big public stunt designed to grab attention. Viral marketing, or word of mouth, is specifically about encouraging consumers to pass along company-developed media videos, messages, services to other people online. It relies on the network effect.
And the Blend Tech Will It Blend video series is the gold standard of simple, low-cost viral genius.
Pure brilliance. Blend Tech was a commercial blender company nobody had ever heard of. Their CEO, Tom Dixon, started making these low-cost videos of him in a lab coat, destroying random objects in his blenders. Golf balls, rake handles, anything. It was simple, compelling content.
The genius was tying it to cultural events, like the launch of the iPhone.
Yes, when the iPhone launched, Dixon just smiled, asked the question, will it blend? And after crushing the brand new device to black dust, he lifted the lid and just said, I smoke.
Ah,
That short clip drew over 3.5 million YouTube downloads and generated this massive, sustained brand equity for basically free. It proves you don't need a huge budget if the idea is sticky enough.
and sometimes the outrageous stunt that risks offense can turn into a massive PR win, like that Heineken example.
That was risky buzz marketing. Heineken realized nothing was more important to their target demographic, young European men, than football. So they staged a fake classical music concert at the exact same time as a huge AC Milan match. They got over 1,000 accomplices, girlfriends, bosses, professors, to trick the fans into going to the concert instead of watching the game.
And when they revealed the prank, it wasn't just an ad, it turned into this massive party.
The reaction, which they filmed, generated a colossal viral win. Over 1.5 million people watched the audience reactions live on TV. The event site got 5 million visitors. It became a worldwide phenomenon. It showed you can turn a deceptive stunt into a PR bonanza if the payoff is entertaining enough. But that is definitely a high-stakes gamble most brands should avoid.
To spark any of this buzz, you need people to carry the message. This brings us to Gladwell's Law of the Few, defining the opinion leaders who can turn an idea into an epidemic.
Gladwell identified 3 essential types of people you need for an idea to gain stickiness and really take off. First, you have the mavens. They're the knowledgeable experts. They know who makes the best product or what the current trends are.
Second, the connectors. The highly social people with a wide reach who bridge different social groups.
And third, the salesmen. People with natural persuasive power. An idea needs all 3 types to reach critical mass and become a self-sustaining social epidemic.
And companies actively work with these influentials. P&G created Tremor for teens and Vocal Point for mothers, right? Groups designed to leverage these connectors.
The premise is that certain well-connected individuals want to learn about products and share their opinions. Vocal Point moms, for instance, talk to 25 to 30 other women during the day. The average for non-Vocal Point moms is just 5. That multiplied reach is immensely valuable.
And a practical case of this is Ford's Fiesta movement campaign before they even launched the car.
Ford invited 100 hand-picked young adults, chosen for their high social media reach, to live with the Fiesta for 6 months and just generate content about their experience. The results were astounding. 4.3 million YouTube views, 500,000 Flickr views, and 50,000 potential customers, 97% of whom had never owned a Ford before.
That's incredible conversion through organic advocacy. But we have to touch on the ethical line here. Shill or stealth marketing.
This is where authenticity just breaks down. It's when companies pay people to promote a product anonymously, without disclosing that financial relationship. Sony Ericsson hired actors dressed as tourists to go up to people and ask them to take a photo with their new camera phone and then talk up its features.
And when that kind of deception is revealed, consumers feel manipulated.
They do, and rightfully so. It undermines the very authenticity that word-of-mouth marketing relies on.
All right, now we transition to the final and, in many ways, the most personal and costliest form of communication. The human link, the sales force.
The field sales call is the original form of personalized communication, and it's still absolutely critical. U.S. firms spend well over $1 trillion a year on sales forces.
$1 trillion.
More than on any other promotional method. These reps are the company's personal, living, breathing link to the customer.
And we've seen that a highly motivated sales force can be the key differentiator, like with the Sobe beverage brand.
John Bello, Sobe's founder, credited the brand's rapid success entirely to its small, 150-person, highly motivated sales force. He said Sobe won in the street because their salespeople were physically there more often and were more motivated than the competition. They were working at the distributor level, the trade level, and the individual store level, making sure the product was there and displayed correctly.
But the term sales rep covers a pretty wide spectrum of duties. The sources list 6 distinct positions.
It helps to group them. You have the service roles, the deliverer, whose main job is logistics, like delivering water or fuel, and the basic order taker, who works behind a counter or calls on established accounts.
Then you have the advisory roles.
Right. The missionary, who can't take an order but focuses entirely on building goodwill and educating users. Think of a pharmaceutical detailer. And the technician, who needs a high level of specialized technical knowledge, often acting as a consultant.
And finally, the value creation roles.
The demand creator, who uses highly creative methods to sell things like insurance or vacuum cleaners. And the modern, highest level, the solution vendor. Their entire job is solving complex customer problems, often with a bespoke system of products and services.
So when a company is designing this very expensive force, they have to consider objectives, strategy, structure, size, and compensation. Beyond just selling, what are the modern objectives?
They're much more expansive now. Of course, you still have prospecting, targeting, communicating, and selling. But increasingly critical are servicing, consulting, technical assistance, and information gathering, doing market research and intelligence work. And crucially, the strategy today relies on a leveraged sales force.
Okay, let's unpack this leveraged sales force concept. If I'm hearing you right, this is all about managing cost and complexity.
Precisely. You focus your most experienced and expensive outside reps only on complex products for your largest, most strategic accounts. All the lower-end selling lead generation, writing proposals, basic order fulfillment, smaller deals, all that is handled by the inside sales team or through digital ordering.
And this strategy allows the costly field reps to handle fewer accounts but get rewarded for major long-term growth.
Exactly, and for relationship depth.
This shift often requires better collaboration because the sales force and the marketing department are, well, famously in conflict.
It's a fundamental human tension built into most companies. The classic dysfunctional exchange is constant. Sales complains, I need better leads, but marketing never sends me any good ones.
And marketing fires back, we send them tons of leads, they just sit there. Why won't sales call on them?
Right. They have different metrics, often opposing short-term goals. They absolutely have to align their objectives to increase both revenue and profit.
Part of the solution for massive firms is a specialized structure called Major Account Management, or MM.
is essential for large global accounts that have multiple divisions in different locations and require uniform pricing and coordinated high-level service. The prime example is P&G. They have a strategic account management team of 300 people dedicated solely to working with Walmart at its headquarters.
300 people for one account. That's dedication. What's the strategic focus of MAM?
It's not about price advantage. It's about becoming a deeply entrenched, long-term partner and providing added value. The major account manager acts as a single point of contact, coordinating every aspect of service delivery, billing, warranties, customized solutions. They focus on complex problem solving.
So once the structure is defined, how does a company analytically figure out the right size for its sales force to avoid costly guesswork?
They use what's called the workload approach. It's a 5-step process that bases staffing on the required frequency of contact, not just the number of customers. First, you group customers into size classes, say A and B accounts, based on their annual sales volume.
Then you establish how often you should call each class. So A accounts might need 36 calls a year, while B accounts only need 12.
Correct. The key idea is step 3. You multiply the number of accounts in each class by the frequency to get the total annual workload in sales calls. So if you have 1,000 A accounts and 2,000 B accounts, your required workload is 60,000 calls a year.
And steps 4 and 5 determine the size. You figure out the average number of calls one rep can actually make in a year, say 1,000, and then you divide the total required calls by the average per rep. And that gives you 60 representatives. It's a very analytical way to ensure you have the right coverage.
The last major design factor is compensation, which needs to balance stability with motivation.
You need a balance between fixed pay, which is salary, and variable pay, like commissions or a bonus.
Right. Salary provides stability and encourages reps to do the non-selling duties, like servicing and paperwork. Variable pay stimulates and rewards sales effort. And the key trend here is moving variable pay away from just sales volume. Companies are increasingly tying it to metrics like gross profitability, customer satisfaction scores, and retention.
Which motivates reps to focus on the quality of the sale, not just the quantity.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's move to the management side. Mastering the sales process, starting with training. This has to be a huge investment today, given how complex products are.
It is a massive investment. Customers expect deep product knowledge, ideas for operational improvement, technical reliability. New hires can take 6 to 12 months, sometimes more, to become fully effective. The training is heavy on product knowledge, improvement processes, and empathy, often using role-playing to help reps genuinely identify with the customer's situation.
And yet, despite this huge investment, time and duty analysis shows that field reps spend a shockingly small amount of time actually selling face-to-face.
It's a low number. Face-to-face selling can be as little as 29% of a rep's total working time. The rest is just consumed by planning, traveling, waiting for appointments, and administrative tasks.
So how do companies leverage their expensive outside sales force better?
By heavily increasing the size and the responsibilities of the inside sales force. These inside reps are highly leveraged. They include technical support people who provide specialized answers, sales assistants who handle clerical backup, and telemarketers.
And telemarketers in particular are extremely efficient compared to field reps.
A telemarketer can call up to 50 customers a day compared to maybe 4 for an outside salesperson. This frees up the highly trained, highly paid outside reps to focus exclusively on major accounts and complex relationship-heavy deals.
Let's talk about motivation, specifically sales quotas, which are the source of so much friction. While quotas are necessary, the risk is that they focus entirely on short-term results.
They're fraught with tension. Management often sets quotas a bit higher than the sales forecast to spur extra effort. But if they're too high, reps get frustrated and quit. If they're too low, the company overpays. And the most critical downside is that quotas can drive sales reps to get the transaction, the short-term result, at the expense of long-term customer satisfaction.
Which is exactly what Oracle learned when they had to overhaul their compensation system.
Right. Oracle was facing flagging sales and widespread customer griping. They realized their overly aggressive, commission-heavy sales force was damaging long-term account health. So they changed the commission structure, narrowing the aggressive range from 2 to 12% down to a flat 4 to 6%. And they implemented clear guidelines instructing staff to play nice with partners, emphasizing predictability over just volume at any cost.
So they rewarded quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Once a rep is in the field, evaluation is paramount. This requires collecting feedback from multiple sources, sales reports, activity plans, customer letters, and analyzing key performance indicators.
A formal evaluation, like the hypothetical one in the source material, can reveal critical disconnects. Let's say a rep's total sales volume goes up year over year, but the gross profit on those sales goes down. What does that instantly tell management?
It suggests the rep is optimizing for volume to hit their quota. They're probably pushing the lower margin products, product B, at the expense of the higher margin, more profitable products like product A.
They're selling what's easy, not what's profitable for the company.
Right.
And furthermore, if the evaluation shows an increase in new customers, but also an upward trend in lost customers, it means the rep is neglecting their present accounts to chase new leads, which just destroys customer lifetime value.
Okay, finally, let's wrap up by looking at the actual human exchange.
Yeah.
The principles of personal selling. We saw the importance of relationship building, often trained using the SPEN method.
The SPEN method, that's situation, problem, implication, and need payoff questions, is a technique used to move reps away from just feature-based selling toward relationship building. It focuses on the customer's specific needs and problems.
Let's walk through that. It starts with establishing the context.
You start with situation questions. What system are you currently using to manage your inventory? Then you move to problem questions. What parts of that system create the most frequent delays or errors?
Then comes the critical shift, forcing the customer to think about the consequences.
That's the implication question. How does this frequent error rate affect your warehouse productivity and, critically, your labor costs? You quantify the pain. Finally, you present the solution with a need payoff question. How much value would be generated if we could eliminate those errors and reduce labor costs by 20%? This builds an unassailable case based entirely on the customer's economic value.
And this methodology fits perfectly into the 6 essential steps of the sales process. The first is prospecting and qualifying.
Finding and vetting leads. You're determining their interests, their financial capacity, their authority to purchase. This lets the company send hot prospects to the expensive field sales force and warm prospects to the inside sales team for follow-up.
Step 2 is the pre-approach.
The rep has to learn everything about the prospect. Who's involved in the purchase? What are their specific needs? How's their purchasing process structured? This lets the rep set clear, personalized objectives for the call.
Step 3 is the presentation and demonstration, which relies on the FABV approach.
Features, advantages, benefits, and value. Salespeople have to avoid focusing only on product features. They have to stress the benefits and, crucially, the economic value they deliver. The pitch has to be highly relevant, speaking directly to the pain points you identified in the ESP mind process.
Step 4 is overcoming objections, which are either psychological or logical.
Psychological resistance is things like customer apathy or a preference for an established brand. Logical resistance is based on clear factors like price or delivery terms. The best sales forces are retrained to sell the price by clearly showing why it's worth the investment, rather than just immediately selling through price, which means offering discounts.
Step 5 is closing, securing the order.
This means recognizing the closing signs, physical actions, statements, questions from the buyer, and then confidently asking for the order.
And finally, the step that determines long-term profitability, follow-up and maintenance.
This ensures post-sale satisfaction and gets you repeat business. The salesperson has to schedule a follow-up call after delivery to make sure everything is working, detect any early problems, and immediately start developing a maintenance and growth plan for that account. In modern age, this continuous effort is the basis of true relationship marketing.
So what does this all mean when we bring all these diverse personalized channels together, from the viral video all the way to the personal sales call?
It means that effective modern communication is about precision and, above all, authenticity. It requires the seamless orchestration of technology interactive, mobile, social, with the human touch of direct sales and word of mouth. The goal is to create tailored, impactful, and highly accountable dialogues with you, the customer. Every single interaction, regardless of the channel, is an opportunity to upsell, cross-sell, or just deepen that relationship. The communication is individualized, but the corporate message still has to feel cohesive.
That brings us back to the power of managing that personalized image, especially when a single corporation is trying to appeal to radically different consumers at the same time.
We saw earlier how Unilever successfully used wildly different personal marketing strategies for two of its key brands, Axe and Dove, both of them dominating their market segments.
On one hand, you have Axe. It's targeting young men, primarily 15 to 25. Its strategy is aggressive, built on messages of sex and humor, using women as aspirational symbols tied directly to the mating game. Axe uses edgy online video, mobile apps, male-dominated networks like MTV. It's transactional, it's hyperbolic.
And then you have Dove. Their Real Beauty campaign grew out of research showing that only 2% of women consider themselves beautiful. It explicitly celebrates women of all shapes, sizes, and ages. It uses non-traditional models to smash those very same stereotypes. Dove's viral film Evolution was a massive hit, viewed over 15 million times online, making a powerful statement about distorted perceptions of beauty. It's relational and deep.
And both strategies are immensely successful for Unilever. They boosted sales and market share globally. Axe is the world's most popular male grooming brand. Dove has touched women globally with its emotional campaign.
But here is the central tension of personalized marketing when you're in the public eye.
Given the immense power of social media to scrutinize and criticize, which we saw with the Motrin example, can a major corporation ethically and credibly maintain such diametrically opposed views of gender and aspiration at the same time? Do the highly personalized communication bubbles successfully keep these contradictory corporate identities separate? Or does the corporate brand identity eventually fray under the intense scrutiny of the digital age?
It's the ultimate test. Juggling optimization for specific market segments with a consistent, authentic corporate identity that has to stand up to worldwide social scrutiny.
Something critical for you to ponder until our next deep dive. Thanks for the breakdown.
My pleasure.